Ontario families used to have a straightforward path to get ahead. Work hard, play by the rules, support your community, and be assured that the future was equally bright for everyone. But after 8 years of Dalton McGuinty's expensive energy experiments and numerous tax hikes, more than 300,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs have left Ontario, and unfortunately, many of those have been from Windsor. In fact, Ontario has lagged behind Canada with an unemployment rate above the national average for 56 straight months, and for nearly 2 years, Windsor was the unemployment capital of Canada. In spite of these facts, last week the Liberals released their platform, and it includes a promise to give employers a $10,000 taxpayer subsidy to any employer who hires a Canadian who is a skilled worker and who has been in the country for 5 years or less. You can imagine what a policy like this would mean for a border city like Windsor. It would be disastrous. For example, if a hospital in Windsor had to choose between hiring an American nurse or a Canadian nurse, but the American nurse had recently moved to Canada as a skilled worker and became a Canadian citizen within the last 5 years, then the Ontario hospital would now have a $10,000 tax incentive to hire the American nurse instead of the Canadian nurse. And the same would apply for all professionals, including teachers, lawyers, accountants, engineers, and so on and so forth. What's worse, the Liberal proposal discriminates between when someone immigrated to Canada and when someone became a Canadian citizen. For example, if someone immigrated to Canada and became a Canadian citizen more than 5 years ago, then that individual would be forced to compete with a skilled worker who became a Canadian citizen within the last 5 years. And again, one person comes with a $10,000 tax incentive and one does not. Whom do you think the employer is going to hire? As many of you know, I'm an international corporate commercial lawyer, and I'm licensed to practice law in both the province of Ontario as well as the state of Michigan and a number of other jurisdictions. Since I graduated from law school more than 9 years ago, I have made more than 100 appearances before immigration officials on both sides of the border, and a fair amount of my practice has been dedicated to helping skilled professionals in both countries work and live in either Canada or the United States. As a matter of fact, this is CBSA headquarters at the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel. I was here in August to secure 2 work permits on behalf of Americans who have operations here in Canada. Furthermore, I currently do work for a medical doctor who commutes to Windsor every day from his home in Huntington Woods, Michigan. He presently has a work permit to work in Canada, and he sees dozens of patients every day and bills OHIP accordingly. We are presently discussing whether the doctor will move to Windsor, become a permanent resident, and eventually become a Canadian citizen. Now, though, there is a $10,000 incentive for his employer to take into account when making this decision, whereas there is no such incentive for a Canadian-born doctor, or even doctors who were trained in foreign countries, who came to Canada in the last 5 years. The Liberal scheme is nothing more than affirmative action. It is divisive, prejudicial, and biased, and it pits one group of Canadians against another. It provides a $10,000 incentive for employers to hire one class of people over another, and that would be horrific for a border city like Windsor, not to mention the rest of Ontario. At some point in time, all of our families immigrated to Canada. We came here from someplace else, and it is our rich, diverse backgrounds that make Canada the wonderful cultural mosaic that it is today. Some of us are naturalized Canadians, some of us are first generation, some of our families have been here for generations, and some of us are in the process of becoming Canadian citizens. Regardless, we all believe, the PC Party believes, and I believe, that people should be treated equally, fairly, and justly in the eyes of the law, regardless of race, religion, creed, color, sex, gender, or sexual orientation, or for that matter, how you got to Canada and when you became a citizen. It is wrong and shameful that the Liberals want to introduce a program by and through which employers will have to choose between hiring someone with a $10,000 tax incentive and someone who became a citizen more than 5 years ago. The Ontario PC Party believes, and I believe, that Ontario is an incredible place to work and live for many reasons, not the least of which includes that we are a welcoming province because of our shared values and our fair and equal treatment under the law. Dalton McGuinty's affirmative action scheme is dramatically out of touch with the values that have made Ontario strong and Canada the best country in the world in which to live. One of the primary roles of leadership is bringing people together. It is not driving them apart. We can do better, we will do better, and we will do better together under the leadership of Tim Hudak and an Ontario PC government. Windsor needs a strong voice in that government, and I want to be that voice for Windsor West.